Picture a frozen lake in the dead of winter. On the surface, everything appears still, motionless, serene. But beneath that ice lies an entire ecosystem, alive and thriving. That's what true calm looks like. It's not emptiness, it's not weakness. It's concentrated power held perfectly in check. And when people encounter it, something primal inside them recognizes they're in the presence of something formidable. We've entered an era where emotional incontinence has become the norm. Watch people for just 5 minutes. A delayed text message triggers anxiety, a differing opinion sparks rage, a minor setback launches a full-blown crisis. Everyone's walking around with their nerves exposed, reacting to everything, controlled by everything. They've become puppets, and the world pulls their strings with ease. But here's what they don't understand. Every time you react, you hand over your power. Every time you let something external dictate your internal state, you become smaller. Now, imagine walking into a room where everyone's arguing, voices escalating, tension crackling through the air like electricity before a storm. And then there's one person who hasn't said a word. They're not frozen in fear, they're not hiding. They're simply present, breathing normally, eyes clear, posture relaxed. Everyone in that room will eventually turn to that person, not because they demanded attention, but because stillness in a hurricane is magnetic. It's unsettling. It makes people question themselves. Why aren't they affected? What do they know that I don't? That's the kind of calm that doesn't just command respect, it extracts it without asking. The reason this level of composure is so rare has nothing to do with genetics or luck. It's rare because it requires something most people aren't willing to give: complete ownership of yourself. See, losing your temper is easy. Getting swept up in drama is effortless. Letting your emotions run the show requires zero skill. But standing in the fire without burning, that's mastery. That demands you face every uncomfortable feeling, acknowledge it, and then choose your response anyway. Most people would rather be comfortable than powerful, and that's why they'll never understand what you're becoming. Think about apex predators for a moment. A great white shark doesn't thrash around announcing its presence. A python doesn't strike at every movement. They conserve energy, they observe, they wait, and when they move, it's decisive and complete. There's no wasted motion, no unnecessary displays. They embody a principle that terrifies prey animals. Confidence doesn't announce itself. Real power doesn't need validation. When you stop seeking approval, when you stop needing others to acknowledge your worth, something shifts in how the world perceives you. Your calm becomes a statement they can't ignore. Scientists have studied what happens in high-stakes negotiations, life-or-death situations, and pressure-filled environments. The pattern is always the same. The person who maintains their composure makes better decisions, spots opportunities others miss, and ultimately shapes the outcome in their favor. Meanwhile, those who let adrenaline hijack their nervous system make predictable mistakes. They show their hand too early. They accept bad deals. They react instead of respond. Your emotional state isn't just about feeling good, it's about staying sharp when everything around you is designed to dull your edge. Consider the world we're living in right now. Your attention is under constant siege. Every platform, every device, every notification is engineered to spike your cortisol, trigger your insecurities, and keep you in a state of perpetual reaction. Companies have spent billions figuring out how to make you anxious, distracted, and desperate for the next hit of stimulation. So when you cultivate genuine calm, you're not just improving yourself, you're committing an act of defiance. You're refusing to be the product they designed you to be.
Here's a scenario that reveals everything. You're in a confrontation. The other person is red-faced, jabbing their finger, voice getting louder with each sentence. And you simply look at them. You don't match their energy. You don't defend yourself frantically. You just exist in your calm while their storm rages. What happens? They escalate further at first, trying to get a reaction. But when they realize you're unmoved, something breaks. They start questioning themselves. Why isn't this working? Why can't I get under their skin? And in that moment, you've won without throwing a single punch. Your composure became a mirror that forced them to see their own chaos. The greatest leaders throughout history understood this principle intimately. When armies panicked, they remained steady. When advisors rushed them toward rash decisions, they took time to think. When enemies tried to provoke them into mistakes, they smiled and waited. This wasn't because they didn't feel fear or anger. It's because they recognized that leadership means being the calm in someone else's storm. The moment you let circumstances dictate your inner state, you've given up the only thing you truly control. But let's address the elephant in the room. Your biology is working against you. Your amygdala, that ancient part of your brain, is designed to react first and think later. Someone disrespects you, and instantly your body floods with chemicals preparing for conflict. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense, your thinking narrows. This was useful when threats were physical and immediate. But in modern life, this hair-trigger response makes you weak. It makes you predictable. It makes you controllable. So the work isn't to eliminate your emotional responses, it's to create space between stimulus and reaction. That space is where freedom lives. The technique that changes everything is deceptively simple: the strategic pause. Someone says something designed to provoke you. Before you speak, count to 3. An unexpected problem appears. Before you act, take 3 deep breaths. Your instinct screams at you to do something, anything. Instead, you do nothing for just 10 seconds. In that tiny window, you step out of the automatic response loop that controls everyone else. You become the observer of your own experience rather than its victim. This pause isn't weakness or hesitation, it's you claiming your power back from your primitive brain. Building this unshakable calm requires deliberate practice. Start with your breathing. When tension rises, your breath becomes shallow and rapid. Consciously slow it down. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, 6 seconds out. This isn't mystical nonsense, it's hacking your nervous system. Slow breath tells your brain there's no emergency, which shuts down the panic response. Next, train your micro-expressions. Your face leaks information constantly. Practice keeping it neutral, especially when you feel strong emotions. This isn't about being fake, it's about not giving away your position. Poker players understand this, soldiers understand this, now you're learning it too. Embrace the power of silence as a tool. In conversations, most people fill every gap with words because silence makes them uncomfortable. You can use this. When someone expects you to explain yourself, justify your position, or defend your choice, just stop talking. Let the silence expand. Watch them squirm. Watch them fill that void with their own projections and assumptions. You haven't said anything, but you've learned everything about them. Silence makes people reveal themselves, while you remain a mystery. Another crucial principle: never make important decisions in emotional states. Rage, fear, excitement, desperation, all of these compromise your judgment. When you feel strongly about something, that's exactly when you should slow down. Tell people you need time to think. Step away. Let the emotion pass through you like weather. What seemed urgent and critical in the heat of the moment often looks completely different after 8 hours. The person who can delay gratification, delay reaction, delay response, that person holds all the cards. Think of your calm as a statement about reality itself. When everyone around you is treating a situation like a crisis and you remain composed, you're making a claim. This isn't actually that serious. Your energy contradicts their narrative. And here's the fascinating part. Often, your calm will be more contagious than their panic. People are looking for permission to stop freaking out. When you provide an alternative model of responding, some of them will unconsciously adopt it. You become a reference point for what's possible.
Consider what it means to be underestimated. When you're calm, especially when you're young or when others don't know you well, they'll mistake your composure for softness. Let them. This is an advantage. While they're not taking you seriously, you're observing, learning, positioning yourself. Then, when it matters, when stakes are real, you move with precision they never saw coming. The element of surprise belongs to those who hide their capabilities behind a peaceful exterior. Here's what scares people about genuine calm. It suggests you know something they don't. In a world addicted to anxiety, where everyone's struggling with the same fears and insecurities, someone who seems unaffected challenges the collective agreement that we should all be worried. Your calm implies you figured something out, found some truth or source of strength that eludes them. And rather than asking you about it, rather than trying to learn, most will either resent you or instinctively keep their distance. Both reactions give you more space and freedom. The relationship between calm and courage needs to be understood correctly. Calm isn't the absence of fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear either. They're both about feeling the fear fully and choosing your response anyway. The calm person feels their heart pounding but keeps their hands steady. They notice the urge to run but stand their ground. They acknowledge the discomfort but don't let it dictate their actions. This is so much more impressive than someone who claims they never feel afraid. That's either delusion or psychopathy. You're building something more useful, the ability to function optimally regardless of your emotional weather. Watch what happens over time as you develop this quality. People who used to push you around will suddenly become more careful with their words. Individuals who tried to manipulate you will find their tactics don't work anymore. Drama that used to pull you in will swirl around you while you remain untouched. It's not that your circumstances have fundamentally changed, it's that you're no longer feeding the chaos with your reactions. You've become a stone in the river. The water rushes past, but you remain. There's a particular kind of respect that calm people receive, and it's different from the respect given to loud, dominant personalities. The loud person is respected out of fear that they'll make a scene. You'll be respected because people sense they're dealing with someone substantial, someone who's done the work, someone who's not performing or posing. There's a weight to your presence that can't be faked. It comes from the 1,000 times you wanted to explode but chose not to, the 100 times you wanted to quit but kept going, the countless moments you felt like everyone else but decided to be different. Your calm will attract certain people and repel others. The ones it repels needed to go anyway. These are the chaos addicts, the drama feeders, the people who need everyone around them to be as unstable as they are. Your peace threatens their entire worldview. Good. Let them go find someone else to drag down. Meanwhile, you'll attract people who are also doing the work, who value depth over noise, who recognize quality when they see it. Your circle will get smaller, but infinitely stronger.
Imagine yourself 5 years from now if you commit to this path. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you barely register it. Someone tries to insult you online, and you feel nothing. A crisis emerges at work, and while everyone panics, you're already thinking 3 steps ahead. Bad news arrives, and you process it calmly, then decide on your response. You've become the person who others look to when things get difficult. Not because you have all the answers, but because your energy doesn't amplify the problem. You make everything around you more manageable just by being present. This is your invitation to become someone unsettling in the best possible way. Someone whose composure makes others uncomfortable with their own reactivity. Someone whose silence is more powerful than most people's speeches. Someone whose presence changes the energy of every room they enter. Not through force, not through charisma, not through manipulation. Simply through the gravitational pull of someone who has mastered themselves. The world is desperate for reactivity, outrage, and chaos. Give them the opposite. Give them calm, so deep, so unshakable, so complete, that it forces them to reconsider everything they thought they knew about strength. That's how you win. That's how you become unforgettable. That's how you scare everyone while doing absolutely nothing at all.